lies.
More vision from inside the company. Okay.
I think with respect to the financial crisis, global financial crisis, I would say, there should be some global regulation. And I heard the German finance minister saying that the US and the UK completely ignored the fact. So the point is, if you say who are the stakeholders and where were the governments, so the US Secretary for the Treasury was a part of the big game. So who do you blame and who you don't? And then you see insider trading happening and all that. Do we all close our eyes and then shift the whole blame on the taxpayers? And is it fair? So in terms of that, we are rewarding them again so that these companies come back, strengthen back, take energy, vitalize, and do the same game again. And it happened in 80s, it happened in 90s, and now it's happening now, and it will keep on happening.
How do you think we stop that cycle?
I think there should be a global regulation, yes.
A global regulator. We're having enough trouble getting Kyoto. Who's in charge of the global regulator? We can't let the Americans run it. Look what they've done to us so far.
Yeah, you're right. But then you see, all the big companies, all the major shareholders are sitting here. And it's time to revisit this whole issue. 700 billion, and then I heard it, they were saying 1.85 trillion US dollars in total would be coming forward. So who are we putting the blame on or shifting the burden on? It's the taxpayer. And I think it's not fair. End of the day, the companies take away the whole thing. Being a politician, I think I have to speak for the public.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yes, Selena.
Being an entrepreneur, I have to ask, power sometimes stifle creativity. And what I have seen as a CEO and a first-time CEO is that I actually have to learn to restrain my power and let people make mistakes on their own. And so I would say that in a micro environment, sometimes the most powerful thing about power is not to exercise it.
That's exactly what I said, I think. That's exactly what I said, that exercise of power sometimes implies restraint, and I gave you the biggest example of all.
Being in alternative fuels technology, of course, passion goes to the heart of why we do what we do, and I tend to agree with that first observation. I think it's interesting that we've been talking about the failure of government, but in that we haven't mentioned the failure of voters and the voting public. As a democratic country in the United States, of course, government acquires its power from the voter. It's the voter that, in response to, interestingly, your humorous quotation of Ronald Reagan earlier, "I'm from the government and I'm here to help," is what really started this, I think, unfortunate dispassionate mode that the voters have been in, not caring about their own economy, not caring about the role of their own government in serving its purpose. So I don't think this is about government. This is about the voters, and this is about enfranchisement. This is about passion on an individual basis, driving their own countries in the right direction.
Okay, thank you for the comment.
I think we've been spending too much time talking about power in terms of government, and I'd love to hear perspectives around all different kinds of power. We're here with a bunch of new champions in Tianjin, and so I'd like to hear some perspectives on the difference between the power of scale. First speaker talked about Microsoft and the scale that comes with that versus the power of ideas, which I think one of the other speakers spoke about, because I think that, that both of those have an amazing amount of importance in the world as we move ahead.
Thank you very much. Do you want to comment, gentlemen?
No, I totally agree. He's supporting me, so I can't disagree with him.
The point that was made that, I thought was very good. And it's very counterintuitive, but when you got the power, you don't need to use it. I mean, when you go into a new market, you're a multinational company, and you go give a speech in India or whatever. But if you just went from the airport to the hall and you gave the speech, do you know the community? Do you know your customer? But if you go and stop in what they call the slum, I think it's a very dignified area, but you go in the low-income area, you talk to the people, you listen to what they have to say. Then you go back to that hall and you say, I visited with these individuals. I heard this story from this lady. Let me tell you about this young man. Now you're enrolling these people in your vision for your company. And now you're doing well and doing good. Now you've got power. You've acquired power, but it's inspiration-based, not coercion-based, and you will make money through the proper, I think, being a proper trustee of power, you need to use it very gently, very lightly. I think we take the easy way toward power. I'm all for power.
I think you could persuade me of anything, actually. Shai Agassi, let's get a contribution from you. Very interesting example of the exercise of power in Israel to get your cars up and running.
So I'm Shai Agassi. I'm from Better Place. As you can understand from the name, we are passionate. A project that actually follows all the ideas you just shared with us. So it's a project that started at the World Economic Forum in a meeting of a few young global leaders that work together with me, Andre Zarur and others that have worked with it. But first and foremost, in the meeting between the power of government and the power of scale and the power of an idea. We had an idea of how do you run an entire country without gasoline, without oil, convert an entire country to electric vehicles. We had a president of a country, Shimon Peres, who was an honorary young global leader even at the young age of 85. And we had the CEO of two car companies, Carlos Ghosn, who's the CEO of both Renault and Nissan, who obviously brings scale.
It's a short program. Going to have to get you to cut to the chase. You've told us a lot about the exercise of power.
The story is you bring the power of an idea together with the power of a government, together with the power of scale of a car company, and you create a whole new business and a whole new paradigm shift for an entire industry that now spans the entire world. It's not stopped in Israel, it went out to other countries. It's not stopped with Renault and Nissan. Now other companies are trying to